Hey, this is another how to draw video. We're going to be drawing Paper Mario. This is what it's going to look like when it's done. Okay, so you're going to start off. Well, before we start, you're going to need a black outliner, a red marker, skin tone, dark blue, yellow, kind of a purplish reddish color, brown, and some sort of shading gray. You could use a pencil too. And of course a pencil. First you start off making a round moon-shaped nose. Then you're gonna make the continuing and make about, I'd say, 4 or 5 bumps. I'm going to make 4. Then you bring up his head and you make his eyes as skinny ovals. And of course, you're going to need to finish the bottom of his head, so it brings up right to the ear, which is kind of like the same thing as his nose. Then you bring it all the way back up here, but by about right here, you're gonna lower it down. Then you have the front of his cap. Then you're gonna make the dark side of his cap. Next, you make a giant bump, again, just like the nose and the ear. And you're going to need to make it a little bit long. Then, you make one more bump. There's his hat. Of course, you need the M. And there's, well, half of his head. Next, you make this inside of his ear, kind of the hole. And finally, you draw his hair. And that's how you draw his head. Next, to draw his body, you draw kind of a rectangle coming out of his head and make it his suit. All the way about right here, you're going to draw a button. Another button goes over here, too. Oh, forgot the last hair part. Next, you kind of make like looks kind of like a hill bump of some sort. So then you bring it down, round little belly. And before you finish that up, you're going to need to draw his arm, which kind of is in front of a couple of stuff. And then, of course, like any other Mario Luigi glove, you have 2 raindrops on it. And his other arm, it's kind of like a puppet. And finally, you finish up his clothes, and there's half of him. Finally, you get to the shoes. Now, it's kind of like, it's sort of like bumps. But then afterwards, you bring it this, and then all the way down. You do the same thing over here, but slightly above. Next, you're going to need the pads on the bottom of his shoes, which are kind of like 2 hills. And that's how you draw them. Now, you color them in. First, you're going to need the black Sharpie, or whatever black marker you use.
And why do you like Sharpie so much?
Well, because they're permanent, probably.
They make clean lines.
And afterwards, you're going to outline his hat and most of his body. And finish it up. You don't want to outline everything, because some of it's not outlined. Top of the hat. And then you bring it around. And there's his hat. You don't outline the M. That you'll notice later. Next, you outline this stuff. So really, you kind of actually do outline everything.
Everything but the M.
Yeah, everything but the M. It takes quite a while to outline all this, but, you know. Then you get the pads on his shoes. And then that's, oh, and there you go.
The glove.
Oh, yeah, don't forget the glove. Next, I'd start off with the yellow. You always start off with the lightest colors so it doesn't blend. So you'd start off with the yellow on his two overalls. Next, I would do the skin tone, which is kind of like a color like that. Then you color in his whole entire big head. And you keep going on and on and on and on and on with his head. Bring it around. Now, right here, if you would like to have him going with his mouth open, then then this is how you do it. You just make this little bump under his mustache, and then draw the little tongue. Of course, before you do anything, you outline it. Then you continue coloring in everything. And that's really all the skin tone you need on his head. Next, you take a slightly dark blue Sharpie, and you cover it, and you color in this. In the olden days, the inside was blue, and the outside was red, but now it's blue on the outside. And you color in just this little overall suit. And there you go. Next, you're going to need a red. And you use red a lot. First, you start off coloring in his cap. Little edge of this. And then do the whole entire rest of the hat. It takes a while to color in his hat, but not so much for everything else. And the M, take a break from that. The M, you color in very gently. You don't want it crooked or anything like that. And there's his hat. Next, you're going to color in the tiny little triangle, rectangle over there. And also you color in over here. Plus his little tiny arm. And there's a suit. And last but not least, if you drew his mouth open, his tongue is red, so. And next, here's the part that the dark red comes in. The dark red, you color in the inside of his mouth and this hat part over here. Now, if you want to shade him, you have to be very gentle with that. Kind of make like a hill, then you color it in. Line. It's like a curtain. Line. And draw the curtain. Like that. Next, for his arm, you make a tiny hill and fill it in. And at the side of his arm right here, you really just draw the curtain. Over here, it's just a line you need. That's how you shade him. And next is the last color, which is brown. Well, technically we also have gray, but that's only if you need a shade. Draw this little hair piece over here. And the last part behind his ear. And of course, the most recognized piece of Mario, you color in his mustache. The other brown part you need to color in is his shoes. This is also one of those parts that takes quite a while to color in. But not the shoe pads. Those are not brown. And you color in over here. And don't be distracted by the lines on the inside of the shoe. Those are just to detail it. And last but not, and his shoe pads, you just need to outline the bottom. Don't color in the whole entire thing, just outline the bottom. And finally, we come to the last part. If you would like to shade him, remember, line, curtain. Line, curtain. And last, line, curtain. That's how you draw Mario. That's all.